Welcome to the Pillow Fright podcast. We are your three besties who bring over all the VHS tapes that your parents would never let you watch.
I'm Elissa.
I'm Kay.
And I'm Amelia.
And this is our first show.
I love first times.
Yeah, nothing awkward about the first time, so we got this down in for a treat. We are a group of female film horror creators, essentially, in multi-facets. Let's start off with our director horror powerhouse of a woman, the boss beach herself.
Well, I'll take it. So as I said, I'm Amelia. I am a horror director, writer, and sometimes I do clothes, and sometimes I build sets, and I'm kind of the person all my friends call the help.
Not only that, she's being super humble. Photographer. Her photography has graced the covers of Fangoria. Her films have festival runs. You can see her work in December and more future work to come that we will be talking about eventually when it gets a little bit closer. Right now, there's a little bit of a gag order on it because it's just too big to talk about right now.
Let's talk about Elissa, our favorite actress extraordinaire.
Okay. I am an actor. I do burlesque. I am a tarot reader. I'm a weirdo. I'm a choreographer. But I've been a lifelong horror fan, horror lover, ever since I was a wee child with my 12-inch TV in my room. That was super fancy. So this was something that I didn't know needed to happen when I was 8 because technology did not exist like this. But that's my jam.
That's my jam. The dog that is off camera.
That's literally the jam.
What about you, Miss Kay?
So I am I want to say horror creator is probably the best way to describe it. Actress and effects makeup artist. Not the pretty stuff, just the bloody stuff. That's my favorite. I try to strive for realism in effects, and I really want them to be uncomfortable. Like, it's my dream to be pulled in front of Congress to be like, I swear you made a snuff film, and be like, no, it's just like a bingo.
You like watch Cannibal Holocaust?
Never seen it. I know. We're probably gonna have to have a whole thing where we talk about it, where I'm like,
that's gonna be one I can see.
I don't mind the people. It's just the animals again.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, it's that. But
the general idea,
like, yes, that general idea for sure. Like a little bit of goals, without the awfulness.
Since this is our first time, what were your first horror movies?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Me? Okay. I don't remember the first horror. Well, I remember the first one that traumatized me to the point where I slept in my mom's bed till I was 7, practically, and I woke up in my own bed every morning. The Blob, 1988, because my mom worked at Albertsons, when they had the video rentals, the VHSs. She brought home inventory to go through. That was one of her side jobs. The Blob was on. We're like, let's just watch The Blob. I'm 5. It's okay, or however old I was when we watched it. Oh my gosh. Walking by that aisle and seeing the cover of The Blob on the VHS, I swear is the most traumatic thing. To this day, I cannot see that cover. And the drain, the drain scene, the theater with the guy with the yo-yo, and those are two scenes that just, oh my god, in the movie theater. So that, I don't know how that trauma got me to love it so much, but my sister used to threaten me, be like, if you tell on mom this, or if you don't do this, I'm gonna tape your eyes open and you're gonna watch The Blob. That was her threat, and that was really scary. But yeah, that was my first memory of horror.
The first horror movie I ever watched as a little kid was definitely going to be Garfield's Halloween. I remember specifically.
The Blob and then Garfield's Halloween.
But if we're talking about horror movie that traumatized us first, which is the movie I remember so much more, I am from Chicago, and so we had Svengoolie. Love Svengoolie. good rubber chicken, like can't be mad at that. And I would watch it like it was like an afternoon rerun because I'm pretty sure it was still light outside at my grandparents' house because that was the only place I was allowed to watch horror. House was on, and I don't even think I finished the movie. I remember like clips of it in my brain, but when I think of the movie House, or if I remember I was at a Monster Palooza and there were like horror pins that someone had, and it was just the hand and the purple face, the demon monster purple face, and I get this feeling in the pit of my stomach, like absolute dread. And when I say this Monster Palooza, I definitely mean like within the last 5 years this happened of a movie I saw as a little kid. I have never watched the movie since. Terrified me, couldn't sleep. And like I know that it's not a scary movie. The effects are like it's everyone says it's a funny movie. And if it was Van Svengoolie, like yeah, that tracks. But like
I have that memory as a child. It's
Yeah.
like,
well, I don't want to lose it. I feel like if I watch the movie, I'll lose the first movie that scared me.
I don't think you will.
No,
I don't know.
I'm still terrified of the Blob. When I watch the Blob, I still have that feeling in the pit of my stomach. So you'll still have that feeling.
Well, I hope
You'll
so.
still be traumatized.
Like, I have the little hand pin. I love it, but I keep that one like I keep it special. So like it's a little sacred for me.
There's nothing like 80s horror.
It's
It's just
true.
like- what about you, Emma? I don't think I know this.
Yes, you do. You totally do.
Wait, do I?
My first horror movie was when I was 4. I know, 4. There was a little, because I grew up in like rural Maine, like Bangor, Maine, like in the woods. And we had like one mom and pop video store and they had Monster Squad. And it was in the kids section because it's kind of a kids movie. So my grandparents who were babysitting me let me rent it. And I loved it so much. I rented it like every day, I think until like I was like 8 or 9, and they just gave us the VHS because I'd rented it so many times. And like I got in trouble like in first grade. You know how like when you're a kid and you have to like make those books and they like have the wallpaper covers with like the spiral thing on the side. Did you guys ever have to do that?
Yeah, I think.
It's like your little published book when you were a kid. They had,
Oh
like,
yeah. Okay.
yeah, they probably don't do that anymore because we're all old. But I made one that was like a Monster Squad fan fiction. I got in like a lot of trouble in like first grade, and my mom got called in, which was
You did fanfic first grade.
for Monster Squad. But the first movie that scared me was Ghostbusters 2.
There's scary stuff in that.
I slept on my parents' floor for weeks. Like I was like, I don't know, 8. And I was so scared of like, was it Vlad?
It was
No.
no, it was
Vigo. Jesus.
Vigo.
Yes. Vigo, man. Like,
It's kind of a daddy now, though.
I was doing a photo shoot at Tom Savini's house years ago, and he has like the life-size full painting.
It's scary.
In his house, and like I was
that's
like,
cool, though.
I was just like, oh, like 2 steps back. I was like, no, not today.
Don't
Sam.
break eye contact with
That
me.
actually, I'm remembering it now. That scared the crap out of me because when the slime, all the slime
Yeah.
comes, it reminded me of the Blob, and it scared the crap out
Full
of me.
circle. First
circle.
full
Oh my
circle.
god.
But you know
Oh
what
my
movie
gosh.
scares me now as an adult? Like I tried to watch it again like this week. Woman in Black with Daniel Radcliffe. It's so scary. I like had nightmares. Like I had to like sleep on the couch. My husband's just like, "Where'd you go?" I'm like, I was afraid that there was a woman in black in our bedroom. It's too dark in here. I had to turn the TV
I
on.
want to see that one again. We should watch that. We should watch
Oh,
that.
it's so scary.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the last movie that like, because you know there's jump scares. There's really good jump scares, but I can't even think of the last movie that like disturbed me, upset me.
I feel like this should be an episode. Like we're planning an episode right now to talk about
We're gonna
like,
have to
actual
find-
movies that scared us. Because I have so much trouble thinking, and then I think of it, and then I forget it again. Like,
Yeah.
but there's. Yeah,
Like I blocked
'cause
it
there's
already.
movies
You'll
with a
never-
jump scare.
You'll never
yeah.
forget the first movies that scared you.
No.
It's like a
ever.
relationship. You got your jump scares, which are like your one night stands. You kind of forget about you know, it affects you, and then you forget about it. And then you have your like really effective scares. You're just like, it stays with you. It
Yeah.
stays in your heart.
Yeah.
I hope
Long
my mother.
relationship is
I hope you get fat and bald, blob.
which leads us.
Well, speaking of, yes. Oh, talk to me. There we go. That's the last movie that freaked me out.
Oh,
Got it.
that movie, like I saw that at Beyond Fest, did like a free like screening with like the filmmakers there. I was sitting there with like, you know, like all my like hardcore film nerd friends who have seen everything and anything, and they're pretty desensitized. And we're like sitting there, and like we're like clutching our pearls, like we're gasping at Talk to Me because it was like hardcore scary.
Yeah, and I will say one of the things, like as an effects person, I've always like there's CSI dead bodies where they're like cute and you're kind of still like, oh my god, you're so pretty. I'm like, how'd you die like that? And then there's dead bodies. And I do hope that like not everyone has to experience what it's like in real life to have to see that. But when you do, it's very, very different. And most, even directors that I've been on set with now, like I have that thing, I was like, okay, like, so we're going for this, and they're like, no, we're gonna dial it back, which like, I completely understand.
I've never said that to you.
I hope you
No, there really is a difference.
But like, and I get it, because it sometimes it's so real that people don't believe it, because they don't know what it really looks like, and that's totally fine. It can still be gory, it can still be scary, but in Talk to Me specifically, the bloated corpse that they showed of that woman, which was like, I think the very first
It was
ghost.
the first one, I think.
Because they only showed her for like...
It was the really
it hurt my
fast.
soul.
She was beautifully done.
That was, and it's just like, it almost makes you wish
Oh my God,
that they showed her more, but also it was perfect.
But there is that, because
like
I remember my favorite part of like, to go back to an older movie that kind of like gave me, like one of my first jump scares I remember is The Ring. With the closet scene, it's just super fast, and that's why it stuck with you, because you're like, what did I just see? And I thought it was same with that ghost, where I was like, oh my god, it was so quick and so effective.
Yeah, and like I kind of come from this like school of thought of less is more. Like the thing your brain can come up with is always going to be scarier than anything that can be shown on screen. So like, when like you have a monster movie and you're only seeing like little slivers of it or silhouettes of it, or things like that, it's like your brain is like filling in all those gaps.
That's effective.
That's what makes a scary movie to me.
Like
if you've ever seen the movie Razorback, that's another
deep cuts,
a movie made in Australia or New Zealand. I can't remember.
Sounds like it.
I was gonna say it sounds
Razorback.
like that.
They got Razorback, because all of Australia scares me in general. So,
but the coolest movies come from there.
Yeah.
The director was like this guy who had done a ton of like Madonna videos, like really big music videos, and he just decided to make this like exploitation movie, and they have like a razorback, but I think they only had like half of a razorback. But the way they shot it is so good. It's like, each kill you're only getting like a tusk or like a profile, or it's like you never see the monster full on. I'm like, that's one scary mother pig. Like, I mean, that to me is so effective. It's way better than when you have a CGI monster that's like all in your face and you're seeing every texture, every pore, every single thing.
We could talk so much.
Well, and I think especially with the film we're going to talk about today, because one thing I appreciated was the blend of CGI and effects, and that's, especially as an effects artist, I always think that practical will get you farther. And maybe, as we see with a lot of 80s movies, even with people that are like the biggest names in the industry, you're seeing something that was supposed to be seen on film or on like a grainy TV. Of course, it's not going to hold up in 4K 50 years later. But some of them do. Whenever you think of that like witch transformation scene, I can't think of the movie where it's from, but it's like they did it all with light. It's like one of those things where it's like, I still don't, like my brain is still like, I don't know how they did that. But that like, and Talk to Me, and it's the blend of practical and CGI, where the CGI enhances practical. Because if it's too much CGI, your brain is like, no,
I feel
it's
like
not
we
real.
can all think about the example of recent years.
100%. But practical effects trick your brain, and if you just use the CGI to enhance it, it just makes it so much better.
Because it doesn't have to look perfect. Like, and when we talk about this movie, I'll talk about it too. But like, even if it looks quote unquote cheesy or it just doesn't look real, I love that. I love the charm of practical effects. I don't want it to look. It doesn't have to look perfect. I love it. I love it.
Tune in next time while we discuss Late Night with the Devil.